All right, I'm back with my friend Ryan Love. He's a New York-based recording artist, actor, model. We met on set I don't know, a month and a half ago, and he's so awesome. So I'm excited to have him on the show. What's up, Ryan?
Sarah, what's up? Thank you so much for having me. It's really great to be here.
Yeah, well, I didn't know when I was scouting talent on our shoot that you were going to be literally so talented. So I'm really happy to have you here on Sue, of course. And why don't you just tell anyone
I
who?
just have to say, I'm sorry, just back at you, really, because I don't know. I need to just say how Sarah and I met because we met on a set, and you are hilarious. Like we have video that I guess we'll play later, but Sarah is such a funny comedian, and you are so great with improv. Like I was really in awe of you at at our shoot. So I just have to say that. Super talented.
No, I mean, I think this is fun for anyone who's watching. They might know. Actually, they would probably remember this exact day. And Ryan, you're going to laugh too, because it was the day, for anyone watching, that we had our Creep Fest finale. It was like our short horror film contest winners being announced. And I was on set for this parody with Ryan.
This lady right here is a trooper. Like, I swear. She came in there. Like, I don't think, like, did you have a second? You didn't even eat. Sarah came in there, like, coming from another appointment, got there, didn't get to read the script, crushed it. Like, seriously, went in there and completely just crushed it. And then didn't take a lunch break because she had to go and do a show, right? Is that right?
This show, yeah, literally this. So I spent my lunch break coming live on here, and then we Ryan and I went
back out. Oh, that was a long day, by the way.
That is so funny. So wait, actually, this is the perfect time. So Jordan, we do have a clip from that shoot that Ryan and I, from when Ryan and I met. So we're just gonna play you a little bit of this QVC parody that we did right now. Evening, everyone, and welcome to the Home Shopping Network on MongoDB Late Night. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Ryan. And tonight on HSN MDB, we are getting swaggy. Swag kits, to be exact. 4 exclusive packages, all for how much, Sarah? $0 each.
Yes. Look at the energy. What an exciting night. Ryan, are you excited?
I'm excited, Sarah.
I'm excited. I'm so excited. I'm scaring myself.
Oh, you scared me.
Okay, so I'm going to control myself. It's okay. So every kit that you see here is up for grabs, and it's not going to cost you a dime.
Not a dime. So here's how it works, Reinvent Fam. Every hour for the next 4 hours, we're bringing these swaggy kits one by one and giving you the rundown on the exclusive items in each kit.
I can't wait.
Me neither.
I want one. I want it. I want them all. I'm going to take it, and I'm going to put it in my blazer.
And they're all free. We all do, Sarah. You know what? And it's driving me insane that we can't get our hands on these kits. I mean, they are irresistible.
So here's how it works, guys. We tell you what's in the kit. We open the phone lines. You call in. And the first 100 people who call get one of these fabulous kits. I mean, we're serious. We're going to give you a real number. You're going to call in, and you will get one of these kits shipped to you for free. For free. This is real. I mean, we're really doing. So that was the story of how Ryan and I met. And I was like, Ryan, you're awesome. Any chance you want to come on my show? Do you want to join this platform called Sue? And he was like,
yeah.
So now we get to find out more about you and your career. So, I mean, you're an established musician. So how long have you been doing music, and sort of what's your journey with that been like?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's funny. I guess, I don't have that age-old story where it's you come to New York, because I was born here. I'm actually a native New Yorker. We don't have many left, but it happens to be the case for me. And I was raised in church. I sang in church, and then just always had a passion for it. I remember being going to see theater, shows when I was preteen. And just sort of my life just changing from those experiences, And that's when I really kind of started taking it seriously. So I started studying, and I went to school I went to performing arts high school. And I really got into theater, musical theater. So I had sort of like a church background, and my parents, the way they, just they're kind of old school. So we grew up listening, just in the house. It was Motown, it was the soul singers, it was like Stevie Wonder and Donny Hathaway, that sort of thing. And then I started getting really into theater. So I started working in theater when I was about 17. I was still in high school when I got my first job in theater, and then I just kind of went with it. And and then life happens, and then you take breaks. You end up, I mean, maybe but you end up in the restaurant industry.
Yep, I talk about it on here all the time. I was bartending up until a pandemic. Yep.
Right. Yeah, it actually wasn't long. I mean, it's been a blessing, but like I'd say it's been a couple of years now that I've been able to kind of support myself outside of that. But yeah, it's a necessary evil, if you will, for a performer. You gotta, it's like have something to make ends meet when you're not, when jobs aren't always there. But in any event, yeah. So another thing I do, actually, one of the things when I wasn't, to help me in addition to the bartending and service industry work, was event entertainment. So I would sing for like super upscale, overly priced weddings and like corporate events. I mean, I tell you, some of these companies, I mean, maybe you wouldn't be surprised, but like $1 million weddings, like they'll fly you around the world for. It's insane. But at the end of the day, of course, I'm grateful. I'm not complaining, right? So I'd say that really lent itself well, also to me, just getting familiar with singing sort of mainstream sounds and pop style music, because it just sort of got into me. So like I said, I grew up in church singing the soul music and then theater, but I needed something, this is, I have a love for pop music and mainstream music. And I guess I needed something. Does you too? Is that what you said? Yeah. I'm a pop junkie. Like I
love it. I used to be embarrassed, but like my boyfriend, he is transitioning to working in music production, and he has like really solid taste in music, primarily like electronic and stuff. Love and I used to be so embarrassed, but I'm like, I just own it. I'm like, I love pop music. I don't care any form of pop, like pop dance, pop R&B, pop, like all pop.
Because people will shame you, like the real like music lovers, those diehard music lovers will say, "Oh, well, that's not really music," and it's like it's all. But hey, whatever. It's popular for a reason, right?
Yep.
So I love it, and I think that working in that industry, in the event entertainment industry, is really what helped me sort of like learn how to do it. I remember working for one particular company, and they would put their performers like through it. So like there would be times I'd be on gigs where I'm the only male singer, and it's like a 4-hour gig. So they would give you also like some material where it's like like rap songs, and I remember coming in there saying, you know what, well, I don't rap, like I don't know how to rap, and they'd be like, well, too bad, you're gonna learn. Like so at the time it was there was stressful situations, but
rap now. Go. No.
I can't.
I'm kidding. I'm giving you PTSD. You're fine.
Yeah. Well, next time I'll come on here, I'll have a rap for you. It's funny because I've been kind of debating. I want to do a song where I put a rap in there, but I got to do it easily because I think people see me as a singer, and it's like, okay, like, are you really gonna rap? But the good thing about it is I had to learn, and I've done it. I've done it on performances. I have another. I worked on a project another project where I was. It was a series. It was like a web series, and they were doing the pilot, and they had a bunch of musicians, and they needed us to make our music. Well, they had music, but it just really, it needed a little bit of work. So we asked if we could do our own. Yeah, and so we did, and we did a bunch of rap songs. It was really cool. It was a great experience.
So, okay, I have a couple questions. The first one is, was there a show, like a theater show, that was the one where you were like, I want to do that? Because I had that moment.
Yes, I want to hear your moment too. But for me, I would say it was, I did this like community theater production of Ragtime. Are you familiar with the show?
Ragtime and Audra McDonald, of course.
Yes. And I was more of an ensemble piece character then, but I think for me, like lifelong, I mean, my dream role would be Coal House Walker on Broadway. I think that is just, it's always there. Like, you know, I mean, if you kind of look through my social media or my YouTube, you'll see like I have some theater performances on there too, where it's like, you know, because it's quite a departure from my sound that you might hear on my Spotify. But yeah, I sort of can do the legit theater thing. So yeah, I'd say that, and I would probably also really love to do the Phantom.
So was it just like a moment when you were like doing Ragtime where you were just like, I want to do this forever? Or like what? Because for me, I went to see Beauty and the Beast. There were two moments for me too, but I went to see Beauty and the Beast and I was like, it was on Broadway and it was my first Broadway show and I was so blown away. I was just like, what? That is like the feeling that I got in my body. It was just like pure magic. It was like seeing magic.
Yeah.
And then, you know, as I got a little bit older, I was doing musical theater in like community and school and whatever. And then like I went to see Rent on Broadway, and I was just like sobbing. I was like, there is nothing else that makes me feel this way. Like I must do this. So for me, those are like my sort of two experiences.
And I mean, it's really very true. I mean, there's nothing like, and I do like the aspect of kind of recording something and having it sort of immortalized forever. Like on platforms like Spotify, iTunes, what have you, but there still is nothing like a live performance and just, you know, being in that moment and just delivering it. It's just so real and just, there's nothing like it. But to answer the question, for me, I think that did happen for me. And interestingly enough, it was Ragtime as well, but it was when I'd seen it as a child. I was 14. The voices just stayed in my heart and in my mind for the rest. It changed my life, and I remember being there and just it was transformative for sure.
Now, you know, you do a bunch of different styles of art, right? So you're a musician, you're an actor, you're a model. Like, do you have one that you feel is your sort of first love? Or are you just like, I want to make all of these versions of art. I can't play favorites among my children.
That's a great question. And you know what? To answer it, I'm going to actually have to step out a little bit because, interestingly enough, and this is something that a lot of people do not know about me, I tend to keep it separately. I'm still trying to figure out why I do this, but it turns out that I'm a visual artist. So I was drawing as a child. My mother tells me in the stroller. So that was honestly my first gift, if you will. So I draw, I paint, I do all those things. And I would say, honestly, to answer your question, it's like a toss-up between that and music and singing. You know, I just being in theater, I realized that I have a love for acting. But again, that came a little bit later, you know. And I will say that even as a kid, I remember watching TV and saying to my mother, you know, I want to do that. I want to do that. And, you know, I have my family's kind of conservative Christian mother. And it was like, absolutely not. There'll be plenty of time to do that when you grow up. And she was right. But I remember being a child watching TV, knowing that, like, I never believed the hype, right? Like, I never drank the Kool-Aid, if you will. Like, I knew that they were actors on screen, and that these scenarios weren't actually real. And I always wanted to do it since then. So yeah, it would be, honestly, to answer your actual question, it's music. And I'd say acting. I love that. Modeling is just something I'm thankful that I can do it, and I can have. Yeah, right. It's exactly, you said it without words, right? I mean, there is definitely a skill and that goes into it, that's required to do it. But I hate taking so much credit for, like, oh, I'm this model, when most of it is like out of your hands, right? It's like luck of the draw.
The genetic lottery, truly.
And casting directors, because now that's it. Because now they don't, you know, they want all different types of, you know, looks, which I think is great. It's, you know, but they don't always go for.
So what we kind of, talked, glossed over, I guess, like, you love pop music. What is that also the music that you make? I know you had sent me some stuff sort of that some goes into dance or R&B, and obviously pop covers other genres. It's not just like pop, you can blend with other genres. So are those sort of the genres that you stay within when making music?
So it's a great question. Interestingly enough, like I said, my sort of musical foundation, where that came from. So there's the gospel influences, there's the soulful sounds, Motown era, all that. As far as theater goes, I think that lends itself in the sense that I've always been a stickler for technique. Like I learned early on that proper technique will carry you. You know what I mean? Like even like I said, doing live performances for 4 hours. In order to do that, like you have to have a solid technique. So I always put that first. So I'll use that to include in sort of the mix of things. But I remember, honestly, I went through a phase in my life, in my like late teens, early 20s, where I was like a party kid. So like I loved the clubs. I would go out. I was always dancing, having a great time with my friends, and I will never forget that experience of sort of like, you're in the club, you've had a few drinks, you're having the time of your life, and then like your song comes on, right? And then like when that beat drops, it's like you go to another place. Like it's like it's otherworldly. It's like an out of body experience. And I remember in those moments, I mean, always being the singer, having the musical background that I had, in those moments saying, I want to do this for people. I want to provide this experience for other people, because it's just like it's otherworldly. And so I think that's really when you got to look. That's cute. Hi there. Who's that?
Sophia.
Sophia. So yeah, I think that was really it for me when I realized, okay, when I'm making music, this is what it's going to be. And interestingly enough, I've tried as hard as I try. Honestly, if it were up to me, I would probably sound more pop than I do. But I've had to learn to embrace it. The reality of it is, and I hear this from everybody, it's like, you're an R&B singer. Everyone's like, you sound R&B. You sound like a soul singer, and that's okay. I like that I'm still able to lend these unique sounds into the pop genre. So what I do is when I make my songs, I will go overly pop with my instrumentals, so that way it sort of balances things out with my vocals being what they are.
I totally identify with that like moment in the club when you just, even now, like I love like house or dance music. Like it just lifts my spirits. Like it gives me that like boost that I need.
Yeah.
And, yeah. When that like beat drops or like whatever, like it's like that. Like, like so good. Like sometimes like I'll find a song now and I'll like play it, and like it's almost like you have to play it through the proper speaker. Like I'll try to convey that to someone else. Right now it's just my partner, but like I'll be like, oh my God, I just found the song. You're like, wait till this one part, wait till you hear it. And like if you're playing it on your phone, it doesn't like even give that full effect of that like that moment. Like you have to put it on the speaker. So that's really cool. That's, I think, similarly to like going to the theater and being like, ooh, what is this? I want to do that. Like that is that moment for you, which I've never heard before, and I really love, because it is a feeling. It's a very similar feeling.
Yeah, sure.
I want to play something from your Spotify, because I think Sophia came, so we can have a little listening party.
Oh, okay. I have an audience. It's wonderful. Thank you, Sophia.
And then we'll take a moment to sort of go into the acoustic version and talk about this song a little bit. So this is Look What You've Done. We can like jam out a little bit. Hopefully, I've never done a sort of Spotify play from so hopefully you guys
see how it goes.
Let's see how this goes.
Like I'm just tripping, we came around. I got this feeling, heart hit the ground. My head was reeling, you go with the crowd. Now I'm believing life wasn't the same before I met you. Now I see I can't live it without you. Look what you done, look what you done.
in the club, yeah, like dancing my butt off to this. Oh, remember clubs?
Oh man, it's funny that you say that because one of my other songs is actually, yeah, and one of my other songs is actually about that. I did a duet with a really good friend of mine. Her name is Petra. If you folks, please check out my Spotify. I'm on iTunes, SoundCloud, all of that, and it's on there. My friend Petra, we did a duet recently, and it's called "Dance Till the End." And it is exactly about that. I mean, we did it during the pandemic, and we were just talking, and I said, you know what, I'd love to do something that people can really identify with. I mean, we're doing dance music, but at the same time, you know, we can't experience the club, so let's kind of talk about that. And it really is, the song in its entirety is about that experience of, oh my gosh, I'm going stir crazy at home, and I'm missing you. And like now here we finally get to go to the club, see each other, be in each other's presence, and get to dance. Like, you know what I mean? That beat drops and we get to dance together. And that's really what the entire song is all about. So check that one out for sure at some point. Dance Till the End.
So for anyone that wants to go and support you, I will say you can find him across all of your, wherever you get music, at Ryan Love. And then of course, also here on Sue at Ryan Love. You have like the best last name. Is that your real last name?
It's my real last name, yeah. Isn't that something? It's like when I meet people, it's like I tell myself, you know, if I had $1, I wish I could get $1 for every time I'm asked that question. Especially being in the industry, most people, it's like they can't be, right?
That is, I wish that that my parents like came to Ellis Island. Not my parents. It would have been my great grandmom actually. She came and was like, you know what?
I'm gonna go with love.
I'm gonna go with love. That would have been.
I met a woman once who looks entirely different than me, and she said she'd done some research on it, and she found that it was Welsh, apparently. So, you know, I learn something new every day, I guess.
So, and we'll go out with "Look What You've Done," the acoustic version. I think that'll be a great way to end. But talk to me about that songwriting process in particular.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, I was reached out to someone on social media, and they were doing an event, and they said, you know what? And it was a sort of an interesting way of putting the event together for them because it had to be virtual. And so they were like, you know what? We really love your stuff. Just came out of nowhere. It was like totally a blessing. And they said, we love your music, and we'd love to have you perform for this event that we're doing. But you know, we'd really like the idea of maybe taking one of your dance songs and sort of making it acoustic, slowing it down, like doing a revamp of one of your songs. And it was a great opportunity because I'd been doing these songs, and I work with my producer. He's always like, Ryan, you know, you're always doing these dance songs. Like maybe you should do a ballad. Try slowing it down a little bit. And I'm like, I will. Eventually, I will. And then this opportunity came out of nowhere. And honestly, I had like 2 weeks. The guy was like, okay, yeah, can you do this? I was like, yeah, sure. And he's like, the event's in 2 weeks. I'm like, oh, okay. But thank God, everything, like I reached out to my producer, the time was available. I got in the studio, and we literally recorded it in 2 hours. So it was, yeah, it just came right out of me. I mean, like we said about you know, our beginnings, our roots, you know, that's really my beginning. Like what you're about to hear, like that. So, I mean, that's really what comes most naturally to me. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, it's really beautiful. And I just want to take a moment before we go out with that to sort of ask like your advice for other songwriters, people who are, you know, in the music industry, maybe just getting started. What, in terms of either career advice, creative advice, anything that you might want to offer them?
Yeah, absolutely. I say, just do it. Just create. You know, I remember being in sort of dead-end jobs and thinking, you know, I would love to do this or that, and I don't know how to sort of, you know, transition. Like, what would those steps be? You know, but I say just do it. Create. You know, and always release. You know what I mean? We as artists, we tend to be perfectionists, and we can second guess ourselves. out of doing something like so much to the point that it's just like we end up putting off, and then it doesn't happen, or thinking that it's not good enough, so whatever. But as long as you see room for growth, you're always going to get better. And know that whatever you are maybe in your mind settling and saying, okay, I'll just release that thing is groundbreaking to someone else and can change their life. So just release, create, and let it, and put it out, put it on display. People will bite.
What do you hope people get from your music when they listen to it?
I hope that they experience what I experience. I hope that they get to have a moment of enlightenment and revelation, and life-changing experiences. I hope they see God in my music.
They feel the beat drop and have the magic,
magic
feeling that we've experienced. I mean, honest to God, like that is, I so often revisit my intention behind making art, in whatever shape or form that is, because I think it can so easily get muddied by,
money
things. Yeah. Money, fame, like recognition, like any of that stuff. And it really comes back to the feeling, right? Gifting feelings to another person, making them feel that magic moment that I felt like when I saw Beauty and the Beast for the first time, when I saw Rent, once I understood a bit more about musical theater, and I was sobbing, like that unexplainable thing, right? Mm-hmm. That people seek out in different ways. Like we have people on this show who, I just had someone on who was an acrobat, and he explained to me what felt like the same kind of moment, but he gets that from when he's in the air. That's why he does it. That's the feeling he's chasing, right? So I think like if we can give that feeling to another person through our work, like that's the ultimate gift.
That's fulfillment. That's what life is all about, right?
Yeah. So anyway, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. It was really a pleasure.
I just want to remind everyone they can find you across all the platforms, listening, social media apps, everything. Ryan Love, so easy to remember. So go show Love some love. And we're going to go out with his acoustic rendition of Look What You've Done. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Maybe this might sound like I'm just tripping. When you came around, I got this feeling, heart hit the ground. My head was reeling, you could wear the crown. Now I'm believing life wasn't the same before I met you. Now I see I can't live it without you. Look what you've done. Look what you've done to me. You're my number one. Feel like my destiny. Oh, don't wanna go a day I'm not thinking of the mention of your name. Just can't get enough what our friends might say. Don't really give a what, I ain't got no shame. Not trying to hit it, life wasn't the same before I met you. Now I see I can't live it without you. Look what you've done. Look what you've done to me. Oh, you're my number one. Feel like my destiny. Oh, a morning text to start the day. It doesn't matter what you say. If you wanted to run away, just say the word and we'd go. With you, love, I'm never alone. Never would I thought you would be my home. Look what you've done. Look what you've done to me. Oh, you're my number one. You feel like my destiny. Oh, look what you've done. Look what you've done to me. Oh, you're my number one. You feel like my destiny.